When a routine flight turned into every passenger's worst nightmare, the shocking events aboard Southwest Airlines Flight 1380 would not only test the limits of human courage, but also capture the world's attention. April 17, 2018. It's a typical spring morning at New York's LaGuardia Airport. Southwest Airlines Flight 1380, a Boeing 737-700, prepares for takeoff. Its destination, Dallas Love Field, a journey expected to take just over 3 hours. On board are 144 passengers and 5 crew members. For most, this is just another routine flight, but what happens next will change their lives forever. In command is Captain Tammie Jo Shults, a trailblazer in the aviation world and a former U.S. Navy pilot. She had been with Southwest since 1994. She's accompanied by First Officer Darren Lee Ellisor, a former U.S. Air Force pilot, and had been with Southwest since 2008. He will be the pilot flying today. At 10:43 a.m., Flight 1380 takes off from LaGuardia Runway 4. The plane climbs steadily, reaching its cruising altitude of 32,000 feet. Everything is normal. Passengers settle in for the flight, enjoying their snacks, reading, or simply relaxing. But behind the scenes, a silent danger lurks. At 11:03 a.m., 20 minutes into the flight, disaster strikes. The plane's left engine suffers an uncontained failure, a term used when parts of the engine break apart with enough force to puncture the aircraft. In this case, a fan blade in the CFM56-7B engine breaks loose. As a result, most of the engine inlet breaks off and the debris rips through the engine cowling and strikes the fuselage, shattering a window in row 14. The cabin is instantly plunged into chaos. The sudden depressurization causes oxygen masks to deploy as a deafening roar fills the cabin. As a flight attendant got to row 14, making sure all passengers could get oxygen, she saw a woman strapped in her seatbelt seated next to the shattered window is partially ejected from the aircraft. Fellow passengers leap into action, desperately pulling her back inside. Meanwhile, in the cockpit, alarms blare. Captain Shults and First Officer Ellisor quickly assess the situation. They note the significant engine damage, reduced thrust, and severe vibration. The flight crew immediately donned their emergency oxygen masks. With the cabin losing pressure, the first officer starts to execute a rapid descent to bring the plane down to 10,000 feet, an altitude where passengers can breathe normally without supplemental oxygen. At the same time, Captain Shults contacts air traffic control to declare an emergency. Her calm voice is a stark contrast to the chaos in the cabin. Descending through 13,600 feet, Captain Shults took control of the aircraft and First Officer Ellisor assumed the duties of the pilot monitoring. Despite the damage, Shults and Ellisor worked together seamlessly. The captain initially requested a course to the nearest airport, but then decided to divert to Philadelphia International Airport, the nearest suitable runway for the aircraft's emergency landing. At first, she planned a long final so that they can complete all the emergency checks, but upon learning that passengers were injured, she decided to expedite the landing. The plane's compromised aerodynamics make the descent challenging. The damaged engine causes asymmetric thrust, pulling the aircraft to one side. Shults must manually counteract this to keep the plane stable. Back in the cabin, flight attendants and passengers work tirelessly to help the woman. As the plane nears Philadelphia, the crew prepares for a high-speed landing. With only one functional engine and a damaged fuselage, this is far from a routine approach. At 11:20 a.m., after a harrowing 17 minutes, Flight 1380 touches down safely on runway 27 left. Emergency vehicles surround the aircraft within moments, ready to assist the passengers and crew. Once on the ground, the remaining passengers are safely evacuated. Unfortunately, despite the efforts of the flight attendants and passengers, the female passenger succumbed to her injuries, and 8 other passengers were injured. The tragedy of losing a passenger weighs heavily on everyone, but the crew's actions have saved 148 lives. In the aftermath of the incident, the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, fined that the fan blade failure was caused by metal fatigue, a tiny crack that had gone undetected during previous inspections. This prompts widespread changes in engine maintenance protocols. Southwest Airlines, in particular, begins inspecting similar engines with ultrasonic devices, aiming to catch early signs of wear. The investigation also highlights the importance of crew training. Shults and Elisor's quick decision-making and calm demeanor under pressure are credited with preventing a far greater disaster. Southwest Flight 1380 is a story of tragedy, heroism, and resilience. What do you think about the actions of Captain Shults and her crew and passengers? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Ghosts of the Sky for more gripping tales of aviation courage and mystery. Thanks for watching.